away. Yeah, every year when we come in, there's always a lot of excitement around the program, both the boys and the girls programs here. We have a lot of tradition, a lot of success that we've had on both sides with the boys and girls. So, you know, what we have every year, we say, how are we going to replace the players that have graduated? But, you know, every year new players, younger players step up, and so, you know, we're getting into the preparation phase of getting ready for the season, starting games, and I'm excited. You know, it makes a big difference when your players here are playing year-round. So you're really only going to be as successful as, you know, the work that your players are doing preseason and out of the high school season. So it's really important to have players that are playing year-round, that are getting quality competition and training throughout the year. It's very difficult when you go play those top South Louisiana teams to just come in with players that are only playing in high school. So that makes a huge difference in our program. It's been great to have so many wonderfully talented players that spend a lot of time and put a lot of effort into their training before they ever step foot on the field for us. Yeah, challenging. It's definitely been challenging starting the season with two teams now instead of one. You know, just working on the logistical things, and of course, with the great success our football team has had, you know, we're trying to share space and find times to train. So I am traditionally not a good delegator, which means I like to be involved in every step of the process. So, you know, we're training from 5 till almost 8:30 at night, pretty much every night with the boys and girls. So while it's been a challenge, it's also been really fun and exciting to work with both groups. So I've really gotten to know the boys well over the last couple weeks as we enter into the season. And I'm excited for them to have a great year, and same thing for the girls. So we set very high expectations here, and this year is no different. You know, I think one of the main differences with boys and girls is the girls will try to apply what you are trying to teach them more. So they want to do well for you. They're people pleasers. They want to play hard for you. The boys, they also want to play hard for you, but they're more of, hey coach, I got this. You can save the speeches for later. So it's been a little different in terms of the style and the approach, but I've enjoyed both. The guys can do some things the girls struggle with physically, but the girls, I think, are smarter. Sorry, guys. It's helpful that I have 5 children, and I have 4 girls, and I do have a boy. So from a parent standpoint, I've had a lot of experience in terms of how to deal with both. So it is a bit of a switch flip when you go between the two. The girls, you have to sometimes worry about the confidence a little more than the guys. So it's a similar approach, but it can be different. And it's different with every player. So there are definitely players that you have to get in their face and challenge them, and they respond well to that. And then there's players where you need to really build their confidence. And if you come across the wrong way, it's an uphill battle the rest of the season trying to get their confidence back up. You know, I'm invested in the school and the program, and when Coach Trey came to me with the idea of taking over the boys, I was a little skeptical at first, just given my schedule and the number of things that I have going on, but he, you know, made a good pitch in terms of wanting to keep some continuity with someone that the kids knew and that had been around the program, with him staying on as assistant. So I was excited to do it once I worked through how I was going to do it. And I guess I'm not very good at saying no, but ultimately I wanted to keep the boys program in a good place with the hopes that Coach Trey can make a return and keep coaching. Yeah, I think I knew most of the boys that were here, but we did have a large graduating class last year with a lot of talented players that had moved on. So our roster is fairly small this year. We did get some new players that came out to help us, which has been great. We went from starting with 14 players to 22. So the roster has strengthened a little bit, but within that group we have a lot of experience and inexperience at the same time in the same group. So it's taken me a little bit to get to know them, but we have a good core of players that are experienced and some good senior leadership that'll carry us through. You know, the schedule, I look back to the last 10 years and being in 6 finals, and the one consistent thing that I come back to the year that we were able to win the state championship was we played the most difficult schedule that we've ever played since I've been here. So the approach this year was very similar. I want us to be tested. I want to play the best. So when we get to the playoffs, we will have seen everything. So that starts with this weekend. We were fortunate enough to have top teams from around the state coming up here. So we will have a state championship rematch with ULAB. play the defending Division I state champion in Mount Carmel, and then North Shore, who was the Division I state champion last year, who's also a top 5 team. So to say that we'll find out a little bit about ourselves this weekend might be the understatement of the year. You know, I want us to take the things that we're doing in training and apply them to the games. I start with the end in mind, so what I'm hoping is that as we continue through this weekend and then through the season, that we're in a place where if we do see a ULab or we see a St. Michael's, we will have seen teams that are at that level or above. So I want to know our strengths, our weaknesses. I want to see the girls step up and compete with these top teams and gain confidence in that. And if we have anything that really needs to be addressed in terms of the weaknesses, we're going to find out early. So it's not going to be late in the season or in the playoffs when we're trying to tweak things and fix it. We want to reach our peak when it comes playoff time. With the girls, if you look at our graduation, so we graduated our goalkeeper and then our entire starting midfield 3, which is, you know, kind of what drives your team. So for the girls, the progression is going to be coming in with 3 midfielders that are going to be in charge of dictating how we play and be the engine of our team, where they haven't played together very much. So I think that will be the biggest progression that we'll need to see, is them starting to gel with the front 3 and being able to defend. Where the boys, it's going to be about quality versus quantity. So, you know, because we don't have a deep roster, we're going to rely on our veteran leaders and the ones that have been here and that have seen high-level games and in the playoffs. And so it's about staying healthy. It's about developing in some fitness to be able to play full 80-minute games. And then to develop some role players that can come in and help us by the end of the season. I always say that tryouts can be 10 minutes, and I have a pretty good idea of where we are. The season's kind of the same way. So coming into the season, you get through 2 or 3 training sessions and you've got a pretty good idea of where we're going to stack up. Of course, there's occasionally an opponent that surprises you now and then, but I think that both programs, the boys and girls, are poised to go very deep in the playoffs if we can stay healthy and play some good competition and, you know, be in a good place at the end when it comes to seeding and matchups. We have a lot more depth than we do on the boys side, so I have some more like-for-like swaps, I would call it. The boys side then kind of comes into, I make a sub and then that might mean 2 or 3 other players have to move into other positions. So there's a little bit more flexibility, I would say, on the boys side, or adaptability that's needed. So I'm definitely not a substituter by the watch. So you know, it's based on what I see in the game, reading a situation, and based on the game situation. So whether we're up a goal, down a goal, time that's left, how the flow of the game's going, just being able to try to have some impact on the game based on where we stand and trying to get a result. I'm already transitioning closer to I'm glad I did that. So I'm on my way from why to I'm glad I did. I definitely think that the relationships that I've developed already with the boys and naturally I've had with the girls is already starting to show through. So I'm definitely invested in both programs. I want them to do well, both on and off the field. So I have no doubt that I'll be very happy that I did it and I put the time in, and I think both teams will be as well.